Hi, in this video, we're going to talk about ObservePoint's HAR Analyzer solution, some of the core use cases that our customers use this for, and make sure you're familiar with the interface and are able to get some great value out of this tool. So before I get started, I should explain what a HAR file is. A HAR file, or .har file, stands for HTTP archive file. And this file essentially contains all the network logs in between devices. So picture a mobile phone, a laptop that is sending requests to servers hosted elsewhere. This file contains all the network activity between those devices, the requests and the responses. And in this HAR file, there's a lot of rich data. There's data about analytics technologies, other third-party pixels that may be related to advertising, and or other technologies, and it has a lot of rich data that needs to be validated. So some of the top use cases for the solution are: one, to validate analytics technologies; two, might be to validate third-party pixels or trackers that have been implemented; three is to validate that your mobile app is privacy compliant and is only tracking using technologies and tracking data that is disclosed in privacy policies. Another use case is to test on the web as well. So you can use HAR Analyzer to test scenarios that are difficult to automate using ObservePoint's journeys. So, for example, testing multi-factor authentication, testing a journey that requires multi-factor authentication, testing a journey or a flow that requires reCAPTCHA or solving some kind of reCAPTCHA puzzle, and also it allows you to ingest or test web experiences that involve Safari, Firefox, or other browsers besides Chrome, which ObservePoint natively tests from. So it is powerful for all these reasons and more. You'll probably come up with your own use cases as well. As we dive in, I'll call out some things in the interface that you want to be aware of and some best practices, and just make sure you feel comfortable. So without further ado, let's dive in. One of the first things you'll notice, I want to call out, is that you can access HAR Analyzer on the left-hand side of our navigation. This is available to all ObservePoint customers officially today, and so you'll see you'll see this in the left-hand nav bar, and you'll be able to access it. Once in HAR Analyzer, you can see that there is a new configuration option that is accessible in the top right corner. And so you can create new configurations or test cases. That's what I like to call them. And each of these configurations or test cases you'll want to represent with a name. So for example, I have a test case or configuration called Safari Music City Estate Law. This is a law firm that I'm using for my example today. And there's a user login event that I want to validate on Safari, and I'm going to do Safari Mobile. There's also an Android mobile app event that I want to test for a booking appointment, and I have another test case for iOS, the same event, but for iOS. So here's examples of test cases that we're going to define. In each of these test cases, as you define them, you're going to want to make sure that you provide a folder for organizational purposes and provide rules that are going to validate analytics, or could be checking for tags that should or should not be there for privacy purposes, and other use cases as well. So the rules there will help be the logic that processes the information and checks the logs for you automatically. So that's a key thing. You want one of the big advantages of HAR Analyzer is we reduce the amount of human error and the amount of time spent processing these logs, which can be painful and tedious. So once there's actually a whole help doc called HAR Analyzer on our help site, help.observepoint.com. You can go read and learn about the different ways to generate HAR files. In this video, we're not talking about generating a HAR file, although it's quite easy in the web. It's not too difficult, but has a few more steps for mobile. And you can explore that guide and find out more about how to generate a HAR file. But today, I'm just going to demonstrate how to upload a HAR file. So once we have one of these test cases, let's say iOS mobile, and I've already produced the HAR file earlier today, what I'm going to do is I'm going to upload a HAR file, and it'll by default launch this file explorer, and I can search for this file. I think it's all one word, musiccity.statelaw.com.har. So I have this file. I'm just going to go ahead and upload it. When I upload it, ObservePoint is going to process it right away. It says it'll take several minutes. I've yet to see it take longer than a minute. Maybe a HAR file with a very large size could take longer, but generally it's pretty fast. While it's processing, you'll notice that it gives, we've auto-assigned a name with just the file name and the timestamp. You can modify that, customize it if you'd like. For most purposes, you don't need to, because the actual container, the configuration container, is descriptive enough of the context. But once you see the report load, you'll see all the tags on the left-hand side and that were found, and you'll be able to filter for specific events. So you could search for page_view to see if that page view event fired. And you could also search for other events inside of the EN variable for Google Analytics. That's a special event name variable, but you could substitute that with any variable you want to explore. By filtering to that, using this filter, you're going to be able to filter all the variables and values here and more quickly identify the tags that you want to focus on. An alternative you can do, and I highly recommend this if you're doing analytics validation, you're doing this every day or doing this every week or on some regular cadence, I would make sure you set up primary tags in your account. It's not hard. It's on the left-hand nav bar under configurations. You can find primary tags and make sure Google Analytics 4 is added. When you do that and you toggle on this filter, it'll only show those primary tags. I haven't done that yet. I still need to, but once I add Google Analytics 4 there, it'll filter out any other tags by default, which is kind of nice. It's kind of like having a saved filter. Okay, so from here also you can create rules, which is convenient. It'll pre-populate some of those rules for you. You might need to populate the rest of the variables, but it gets you a head start. And then under request logs, we have all the request information, including these tags, but other requests as well. And you'll notice that we have the request info along with the headers, and you can see the response info, which includes the large payloads of information. That could be, especially for analytics, if I searched Google-Analytics, you'll see the payload there. So this is a pretty big payload, but I won't worry about parsing through it. That's what the beauty of ObservePoint is. We parse out those logs and make it much easier for you. So we'll take away the burden of having to look through those logs. But you can see here we can expose all the logs for analytics and other technologies, and we can allow you to inspect them and filter to them. And then last but not least, we have rules, and this is where we want to predefine the tests or checks that we have for a particular test case. In this case, I'm checking that Google Analytics 4 is present, and I want to look for a special Google Analytics 4 appointment booking event, which in this case, we're seeing a failure recognizing because the rule recognizes that this event does not fire in J4 in any of the tags. And so just like that, automatically the information is processed, and any test case that I was specifically targeting, I can evaluate with automation. You have context for this file and this info icon and an export that allows you to export the results, analyze them, and you can reprocess rules if you make edits. You can upload a new HAR file, delete a session, or edit a configuration. You can select all those things. So that's HAR Analyzer. It's pretty straightforward. If you have more questions about use cases, come talk to your success manager or a member of our support team. We'd be happy to help you. As you notice that within the configuration, there's a report of all the different uploaded sessions, and you can see rule failures. You can see those sorted in order of upload, which can be great for tracking the history of your testing. That's it for today. That's HAR Analyzer. If you have more questions, again, please reach out. We're excited. We're welcoming your feedback and hope to hear from you soon.